I love my mother country, and I love my family, and I always will. I just wish, at the second darkest moment of my life, they'd been there for me too. And I believe they'll look back one day and wish they had too. It wasn't that she felt no emotions. On the contrary, I always thought that Granny experienced all the normal human emotions. She just knew better than the rest of us mortals how to control them. He assured me that people do stupid things, say stupid things, but it doesn't need to be their intrinsic nature. I was showing my true nature, he said, by seeking to atone. Seeking absolution. I recall one headline, addressed pointedly at Granny, "Show us you care." How rich, coming from the same fiends who cared so much about Mummy that they chased her into a tunnel from which she never emerged. I heard the story of what Pa allegedly said to Mummy the day of my birth. "Wonderful. Now you've given me an heir and a spare, my work is done." A joke. Presumably. On the other hand, minutes after delivering this bit of high comedy, Pa was said to have gone off to meet with his girlfriend. So many a true word spoken in jest. The heir and the spare, there was no judgment about it, but also no ambiguity. I was the shadow, the support, the plan B. I was brought into the world in case something happened to Willie. I was summoned to provide backup, distraction, diversion and, if necessary, a spare part. Kidney, perhaps. Blood transfusion. Speck of bone marrow. This was all made explicitly clear to me from the start of life's journey and regularly reinforced thereafter. It occurred to me then that identity is a hierarchy. We are primarily one thing, and then we're primarily another, and then another, and so on, until death in succession. Each new identity assumes the throne of self, but takes us further from our original self, perhaps our core self, the child. Yes, evolution, maturation, the path towards wisdom, it's all natural and healthy, but there's a purity to childhood, which is diluted with each iteration. My family had declared me a nullity. The spare. I didn't complain about it, but I didn't need to dwell on it either. Far better, in my mind, not to think about certain facts, such as the cardinal rule for royal travel: Pa and William could never be on the same flight together, because there must be no chance of the first and second in line to the throne being wiped out. But no one gave a damn whom I traveled with, the spare could always be spared. I remember the mounds of flowers all around us. I remember feeling unspeakable sorrow and yet being unfailingly polite. I remember old ladies saying, "Oh, my, how polite, the poor boy." I remember muttering thanks over and over: "Thank you for coming, thank you for saying that, thank you for camping out here for several days." I remember consoling several folks who were prostrate, overcome, as if they knew Mummy, but also thinking, "You didn't, though. You act as if you did, but you didn't know her." Adults called it the nursery. Willie had the larger half, with a double bed, a good-sized basin, a cupboard with mirrored doors, a beautiful window looking down on the courtyard, the fountain, the bronze statue of a roe deer buck. My half of the room was far smaller, less luxurious. I never asked why. I didn't care. But I also didn't need to ask. 2 years older than me, Willie was the heir, whereas I was the spare. It struck me at some point that the whole basis of education was memory. A list of names, a column of numbers, a mathematical formula, a beautiful poem. To learn it you had to upload it to the part of the brain that stored stuff, but that was the same part of my brain I was resisting. My memory had been spotty since Mummy disappeared, by design, and I didn't want to fix it, because memory equaled grief. Maybe she was omnipresent for the very same reason that she was indescribable, because she was light, pure and radiant light, and how can you really describe light? Even Einstein struggled with that one.